Hey, I'm here at Unicoi Gap on the Appalachian Trail, just outside of Helen, Georgia. Just got dropped off here by a shuttle. Drove up this morning from Tallahassee, drove into Cleveland, Georgia with a rent-a-car, dropped it off. They gave me a ride as far as Betty's Grocery in Helen. If you've been to Helen, you probably know that. And then I caught a shuttle over here. It cost me about 35 bucks. Late in the day, it's about 6 o'clock, much later than I would typically get started. But I just got up here later than I wanted to, so I'm not going to go very far. I'm going to go a couple miles. First opportunity is the top of Rocky Mountain, campsite up there. Depending on how long it takes me to get up Rocky Mountain, I may go to the cheese factory site, so we'll see. That's about 4 miles up. This trip is all about just getting out for a few days. Not sure how far I'm going to go. I'm either going to go Deep Gap or Franklin. We'll just see how the knee feels. If you followed any of my last couple of videos, you know I've been trying to nurse this knee issue I've got. So we'll just see how it feels. Some serious climbing here on this little section if I go all the way to Franklin. So we'll just play by ear. May do a few days, may do 5 days. We'll just see. All right. Well, I'm not going to take much time here, or more than I already have. I got to get started here on this climb. I'm going to find a campsite here in the next hour and a half or so, and I'll check in there if not sooner. All right. Talk to you soon. All right, so I just wanted to pop on here for a second, let you know, if you plan on staying at the campsite on top of Rocky Mountain, there is apparently no water up there, so you have to get some water on the way up. About 0.8 below the summit, there's a little creek right here behind me, just down off the trail, running really good, really cold, nice clean clear water. There is apparently one more water source just about 1/10 of a mile up from here, but this one was running good, so I grabbed some water here because I think I'm going to camp up there tonight. Also, you should know, coming out of Unicoi Gap, boy, the trail is literally from the first step just straight up. So not what I like to do right out of the car. It's always nice to get a little bit of a warm-up before you ascend, but that's not to be had out of Unicoi Gap. And if you've come hiked into Unicoi Gap northbound off of Blue Mountain, you know that it's about as steep going up Rocky Mountain as it is steep coming down Blue Mountain. So if you've been down Blue Mountain, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Knee is a little sketchy right now, but whatever. I'm gonna sleep on it tonight. I'm only doing 2 miles in, something like that. So when I get to the top here, I'm gonna set up camp. Hopefully the weather won't get too bad tonight. If it rains, not too bad. I'd like to avoid a storm being at the summit, but we'll just see how it goes. All right, man. We'll see you. All right, so decided to set up here at the summit of Rocky Mountain. It's a great spot up here. This is an official campsite. There's room for probably 8 or so tents. So fire ring here in the middle. Yeah, I decided to stay here. Man, that climb right out of the parking lot is something else, and about halfway up, the knee just started really hurting. I'm just going to reassess in the morning. We'll see. You know, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and we'll see how it goes in the morning. I'm hoping to push through, but we'll see. There's another tough climb right ahead of this one. As soon as you get down, you go up Trey Mountain. So the morning will be when I decide. About to have a little dinner now. Probably some ramen and some cheddar and salami. Boy, it's nothing like bringing out a block of sharp cheddar out here. But man, when it's warm, that thing starts to get a little squishy. So I'm gonna try to eat some of that tonight. And hopefully the temperatures will drop, but it's already way cooler than it was when I started. There's a little mosquito action up here, but not too bad. Not nearly uh, what we experienced in Oregon with the black flies. So that's a relief. Um, Let me switch hands here. So you can see in the back, that's the Lightheart Gear So Long 6. Man, I really like that tent. That thing just that thing sets up nice and tight. Great ventilation. That awning on the one side is just awesome. So if you order that tent, man, make sure you get that awning pole. It is an add-on option, um, but it's well worth it, the $30 or so. And it's super light, lighter than if you were to construct your own, I'm sure. Anyway, so yeah, probably get in the tent here in a few minutes. Well, a few minutes after I eat, and then I'll see you guys in the morning. I'm gonna again, like I said, I'll think about it tonight. I'm gonna look at the AWOL guide for the next 10-20 miles, and just make a decision in the morning. I'll either move forward, and the thing is once I move forward, I'm pretty much making a commitment to go for at least another couple days. And if I think the knee can do it, then we'll do it. If I don't, then it'll be a great night camping at the top of Rocky Mountain, and I'll just head back down and catch a ride back into town. We'll see. Hoping I can move forward, but I'm totally fine with however it works out. All right, see you guys in the morning. All right, so it's morning, day 2. Great night last night, man. This is an awesome campsite. I was the only one here last night. It's right at the summit of Rocky Mountain, which is the ascent right out of Unicoi Gap. Breeze blowing all night through the trees. It was just pretty much a perfect night. This morning, it's kind of cool and breezy up here. I expect it's going to get warmer here as the day wears on, probably sooner than later. So man, I just kind of like kicked it around all back and forth this morning about whether to keep pushing forward. Knee feels sore this morning, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it's going to get any worse. Right now I'm inclined to push forward, just moving a short distance each day. Probably going to try to make it to Dick's Creek Gap in the next 2 days. Probably could make that in a day, but I'm going to stretch it out and just do maybe 5 miles today, up and over Trey Mountain. That should give me a pretty easy day the following day. I don't know. We'll see. If I start heading out this morning and it just gets bad really quickly, and maybe I'll turn around and go back. But that's the plan so far. We're gonna see how it goes. I'm gonna stop at the cheese factory, which is just about 2 miles up. Chill out there for a little bit, grab a snack, rest the knee a few minutes before the final. That's about I guess about a mile ascent to the cheese factory once I descend Rocky Mountain. So and that'll leave me about a mile and a half to go, I guess, to get to the top of Trey. So we'll see how it goes. We'll check in along the way. I think we can get some views here in a couple minutes, so we'll check in then. All right, so didn't have to walk far out of camp to get to this this view right here from the summit of Rocky Mountain. And it's a little hazy this morning, but what a beautiful view. I mean, just mountain summit after mountain summit off into the distance. Pulled up Peak Finder, and apparently straight off in that direction is Stone Mountain. So, sorry, pretty good distance away. I can't see it from here. That peak kind of prominent right in the center of the screen right there. just above the tree line, is, damn it, bees are getting at me here. That's Yona Mountain. So great day hike. Last video that I posted last week was on Yona Mountain. I summited that about a week and a half ago on a day hike. Great day hike. Recommend it to anyone who's up here and just wants to do a quick hike up and back. Man, these bees are getting me. Anyway, so I'm gonna keep moving here. I'll check in on the next view. We'll see you soon. So this is what the trail looks like as we start to descend Rocky Mountain. You can see off to the right, at least for now, some great views, both through the trees and on those short openings. But so far so good. Haven't been on this part of the trail before. What I understand, there is quite a few, quite a steep rock descent. So we'll see when we get there. We're just kind of walking the ridge right now, so we really haven't started the descent. We're getting close to it. But again, not a bad morning hike with that off to one side. It's a little tricky watching the footing and trying to take in those views. So I'm not sure if that's Trey out there. I'll have to look at the peak finder. By the way, if you haven't come across that app, that's a pretty good app. Peak Finder, I believe it's called, that shows you the peaks in whatever direction you point your camera. So pretty cool app. Take a look at it, see if it works for you. Checking again soon. Okay, so we made it down to Indian Grave Gap. There's a few steps now, a few more steps down to the, there's a small parking lot apparently up ahead. This is about 1.1, just over a mile down from the summit of Rocky Mountain. There's about a mile, 1.1 miles from here, about the same distance to the cheese factory campsite where I'm going to stop and take a break. And then about another mile, I guess, mile and a half to the summit of Trey. So that's the plan here for the next couple of hours. Depending on how I feel when I get to the cheese factory, I may just chill out for an hour or so. I'm in no real rush. I'm going to be happy with stopping at Trey Mountain Shelter. If I get to Trey Mountain Shelter and it's early and I want to go on, then I will. I'm just going to kind of play it by ear. But that was a nice, easy descent from Rocky Mountain. Not nearly as treacherous as the descent from Blue Mountain, which is just on the other side of Unicoi Gap. So not a bad descent. Knee feels pretty good. I'm gonna keep going. I'll check in unless there's something good to see. I'll check in once we get down to the cheese factory, or up to the cheese factory campsite. Again, from Indian Grave Gap. I'll check in again soon. All right, so just at about the Trey Mountain Road. I want to say 0.3 or so to cheese factory campsite. If you get to Trey Road, there's water at the cheese factory, but if you're just dying on a hot day like today, it's really not that hot today. Actually, it's more the humidity, but great water source right here, just south of the road. So not sure, like for instance, I'm enjoying carrying less than half a liter right now because I know that the cheese factory site is coming up and there should be water there. So I'm not going to put any extra weight on right there, but this is Trey Road. And that's the way up. See you at the cheese factory. All right, so just coming up on the cheese factory site here in a minute, but I wanted to show you this. Sometimes you'll hear the AT referred to, at least in the south, as the green tunnel. And this is what we're talking about here. So the turns up pretty cool little tunnel here through. I guess there's a mix of rhododendron and other things here. I wish I knew more about the different types of trees, but Right before I got to this point, so probably point 0.2 before the cheese factory, there is a nice little stealth site off to the right. Again, you probably have to get water down there at Trey Road or come up here to the water source that's supposed to be up here near the cheese factory. But so the climb out of Indian Grave Gap, well, tough for me because I'm out of shape, but relatively moderate. Nice gradual ascent for most of the 1 mile or so that I've come so far. Like I said, I'm gonna hang out here for a few minutes, maybe up to probably longer than a few minutes. Take the knee brace off, let it air out a little bit, chill, and then get going. And once I do, I've got about 1.5 miles, I think, to the summit of Trey Mountain, and then just up and over to get to Trey Mountain Shelter. So here's the camping area at the site that's known as the Cheese Factory. I haven't read up on it a lot, but apparently there was a dairy farm here at this site in the 19th century. Can't really tell anything, no signs of that now, but here's the trail down to the water source. I'm gonna chill here, find a log to sit on over there near a campsite, and I'll get back with you in a little while, probably once we get going again. Okay, so this is the water source at the cheese factory. It's about Blue Blaze Trail. Comes down there, actually crosses a road. Pretty flat coming down. I think it's I would say about 0.1 down from the campsite, and you can see it's a little pool and then a trickle going down. Might be able to get a little bit of a fall over down there, but I'll probably just scoop from right here. Looks pretty clean. We'll see how good it is here in a minute. All right, so we're about halfway up Trey Mountain. This trail is flattened out a little bit. The second half after the cheese factory, probably a tad more aggressive in terms of elevation gain, but not probably still not as aggressive as coming up Rocky Mountain. Should be coming up to a view here of on one of these turns here of the summit of Trey. So we'll get a peek at where we're headed from this lookout. The summit is about 1 mile, so we'll get a good idea of what that looks like. Sometimes, as you know, some of you know, sometimes we get peaks at summits where we happen to be heading and they look further off than they actually are. So we're going to get a good look at what 1 mile looks like here as we get a view of Trey Mountain. I'll turn it back on when we get there. All right, well, there you are. That's the summit of Trey. Doesn't look so far off, but it could be deceiving. As I said, it's about 1 mile to the summit. In about another 0.2 miles, we'll reach Trey Gap, I want to say, and there should be a small parking lot there, so kind of a higher elevation parking lot. I'm assuming it'll be a gravel road, but probably won't be much to see there, but if there is, I'll check back in there. Otherwise, I'll see you on the summit. Alright, so we made it to the summit of Trey Mountain. Not sure how much you can make out. It's really kind of foggy out there today, but from where I'm standing, I can really make out right there in the center of the frame Yona Mountain, a great shot at Yona Mountain, and then the range or two right behind it. I'm not sure what that is off in the distance. I'll have to look that up here on Peak Finder in a second, but really nice view despite the fog. Man, it's still hot today. Really tough climb up out of the cheese factory, so I'm gonna keep going here. Like I said, we got about half a day, so I'm gonna be stopping here in the next half mile. Not sure what I'm gonna do with myself. It's earlier than I would typically stop, but we'll see. All right, we'll check back in a little bit. All right, so we're in camp at Trey Mountain Shelter tonight. I thought I might be alone again tonight, but we have a couple different groups in here. Surprisingly, we have a group that showed up from Tallahassee, which is my hometown, and then 3 young adults from Switzerland who are going to be staying in the shelter. So, pretty good group here tonight at Trey Mountain Shelter. I got my tent set up right on an overlook, so I'll show you that in a few minutes. A great spot, one of the best spots I've had that I've ever been able to set a tent up in. So, pretty excited about that. But anyway, again, kept it a short day today. Just kind of looking after the knee, kind of babying that a little bit. Going to do 2 more short days and finish up at Dix Creek Gap here on Thursday morning. So anyway, I'll check back in here in a few minutes. Hey, so it's about 9:30. We're getting close to 9:30, so kind of climbed in the tent. Got a great spot here. You can see behind me. I'm looking out of the raised awning on my Lightheart Gear So Long 6. I love this tent. Gives me a great view right off this ledge here. You can see some of that in the distance. Kind of looking in a south, maybe slightly southeast direction. So we'll see how the sunset works out for me. I got high hopes, but we'll see. It's been really kind of a foggy horizon pretty much all day today, so we'll see how it is. Good day today. I mean, it is what it is. Did about 5 miles. Got here super early, was bored to death. Thank God some people showed up to make things a little more interesting here at the Trey Mountain Shelter tonight. This is just about half a mile below the summit, maybe a shade less than that, but still above 4,000 feet. Great campsite, great shelter. Water source is about 0.1 down, slightly downhill right behind the shelter. Great water source. It's spring, piped spring, so nice and cold, clean, clear. So the plan for tomorrow is to get to at least Addis Gap. That's right before Kelly Knob, which is the last 4,000 footer in Georgia on the AT. It's a little less than 1,000-foot climb, so in about a mile. I'm going to assess once I get to Addis Gap. If I feel good, I'm going to go up and over, make it to the deep Gap shelter. I'd love to do that because that puts me for a really short morning on Thursday to get to Dix Creek Gap, where I'm going to call it quits for this trip. It's been good so far. I'm kind of accomplishing what I set out to do, which was to kind of assess how everything's working. Got to try out a little bit of new gear. I'll do a follow-up video here in the next week or so. I got a few items I want to review. Some things I've changed over the last couple trips that most have worked out pretty good. So I want to share those with you once I get this video out, wrapped up, and we'll do a follow-up video with some gear reviews. All right, well, I'm gonna call it a night. I'll see everybody in the morning, and we'll see how things go tomorrow. Hoping for a slightly, maybe a few degrees cooler tomorrow, which would be kind of cool. But not much climbing tomorrow until you get to Kelly Knob, so should be a good day. All right, see you then. Oh, good morning. It's the morning of Wednesday. This is day 3, really day 2.5, since that first day started really late in the day. So this is where the campsite was last night. You can't really see it because of the glare. Coming into a little bit of focus. Great spot if you stay at Trey Gap Shelter and you plan on tent camping and it's available. Grab this first site as you're entering the shelter to the right. It's really the best view. Plan today is first option 1 is Addis Gap. Depending on how the knee feels, I may push up over Kelly Knob to Deep Gap Shelter. That would be preferable. We'll just see how it feels once I get there. That'll set me up for a really short morning tomorrow to Dick Creek Gap and a shuttle. So anyway, I'm gonna get going. Man, it's super humid. It's been humid all night, just super sticky in the tent. It wasn't really hot. It was just really humid. So I'm sure it'll be another really sweaty day. But we're gonna get started. I'll check in with you guys a little bit later. All right, so coming up on Steel Trap Gap. It's about 1.5 to 2 miles north of Trey Mountain Shelter. Not much here. There's a little side trail here. I'm not sure if that leads to a stealth camp. Then you got Blue Blaze Trail here down to water. I think it's down 0.1, 0.2, something like that, down the side of the mountain here. So if you cameled up at Trey Gap Shelter, you probably don't need water here, but it's here. All right, we're gonna go up. So the hike today is mostly, at least until Kelly Knob, from what it looks like on both A-Walls and Gut Hook, is a series of up and down, 200 to 300 foot climbs with long downhills, losing elevation the whole way to Kelly Knob, until we get to Kelly Knob. So that's what it's going to look like for most of today. I'll check back in when we see something that's notable. All right, making pretty good time today. Made it to the swag of the Blue Ridge. It's about 3.5 miles from Trey Gap Shelter. So just a nice place here. I guess there's a room, looks like a room for a couple of tents. Looks like it's a stealth site or two that has been used probably pretty recently. Good place for a break though. Stopped, drank some water. It's super humid again today, of course. So I've been down in some water and getting a little snack. About to hit the road. It's about 2 miles from here to Addis Gap. Make a decision there whether I want to grab some water or not. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go up and over Kelly Knob today. Get to Deep Gap Shelter. Set me up for an early morning tomorrow and a short hike to Dick's Creek Gap, as I mentioned earlier. So here, that's about it here from the swag of the Blue Ridge. It's one of those, of course, one of those sites you see a lot in pictures and YouTube videos. So finally got to the swag for myself to check out the sign. That's about all that's here. All right, we'll check in a little bit later, probably maybe around Addis Gap. All right, talk to you soon. All right, so we just came over the top of Kelly Knob. Haven't really videoed a lot today. Stopped and ate some lunch at Sassafras Gap. Kelly Knob, let me tell you, not as high as Trey, maybe not even as high as Rocky Mountain, but definitely the toughest climb so far this weekend or this week. So headed down now to Deep Gap Shelter. Gonna stay there for the night. Then a quick 3.5 or so mile hike out to Dix Creek Gap in the morning. But yeah, Kelly Knob, no switchbacks, relentless climbing, straight up to add to the excitement of it. On the first, I don't know, 0.2 of the climb, I'm walking down the trail and climbing, and these some kind of yellow jackets or something with a nest on the ground just pop out, and I get like 4 or 5 stings on the back of my leg, which I'm still feeling pretty good right now. But that did not make the climb any easier. So yeah, this is not a bad trail down. Could be worse. Pretty smooth, pretty nice surface. So I'll check in again once I get camp set up for the evening. See you soon. One other thing about that climb on up Kelly Knob, if you need water, and on a hot day like today, boy, I killed probably a liter going up, just up that mile up Kelly Knob. But if you need water, I'd get it at Sassafras Gap. It's about 0.1, 0.2 off the trail, a little bit downhill. But if you wait till Addis Gap right before the climb starts, it's half a mile off trail. So probably better off getting your water at Sassafras Gap. All right, just wanted to cover that. See ya. Okay guys, so stayed at Deep Gap Shelter last night. I slept in the shelter just to make it a little easier this morning to get out of here. Great shelter. It's almost entirely enclosed. There's kind of a doorway, but gonna head out now. It's about 8:45, I guess. Should be a relatively short hike today. I think it's only about 2.5 miles, 2.6 miles. So a short climb out of camp, Powell Mountain, and then mostly downhill with a couple hiccups along the way. Got a shuttle set up for the Dix Creek Gap, and then I'm gonna head to the Enterprise rental car, spend the night in Franklin, head back to Tallahassee tomorrow. Well, I'll check in with you along the way. It did rain last night, so it's kind of a little sketchy this morning. Not sure if it's going to rain or not, but we'll check in as needed. Talk to you soon. Okay, so just had a quick bear encounter. Just barely caught a glimpse of him. I'm not sure where he went, if he's darted off yet. So stick with me here for 1 second, and we'll see. Hey, bear. All right. I believe he's moved on, so we're going to move on. All right, so we made it into Dix Creek Gap. Nice hike this morning, mostly downhill. Just a couple hiccups along the way. Small climb right at the beginning, right out of the shelter. Humid, but I'll tell you, man, one thing, if you can bear the humidity, man, never seen the forest out here so lush and green. It's just really really settled in nicely. I guess we'll have another month or so, 2 months of that. But anyway, we'll come out here to the road, catch my shuttle, get my rent-a-car. I'm hoping before too long I'll be at Lazy Hiker Brewery. We'll check in again later. All right, so I got the rental car, finished up the hike. I'm in Franklin now at the Lazy Hiker Brewery. Awesome place. I already had my first flight. Gonna grab some food, another beer or two. Checked into a hotel in Cherokee just because I got a good deal over there. And then I'll head out early in the morning back to Tallahassee. Man, it was a good week. Struggled a little bit with the knee, but overall happy with how it turned out. So now I'm gonna go home, rest up the knee, try to work on it a little bit, maybe go back to the doctor. Probably won't be back on the trail till maybe Labor Day weekend, so we'll see how it goes. Don't think I'll be checking any more on this video, so hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Give it a like if you liked it, a thumbs up, and I'm gonna come back probably in the next week or so with a a gear review of some of the new stuff I've been carrying the last couple trips. So be on the lookout for that. All right. Until next time, we'll see you guys.